world. This is Paper Cuts with Brad and Jay.
I'm the one you love. I'm Jay. Thanks so much for stopping by. Over there's Brad. It's his show.
It's his show. That's why I'm the host, and we just love Jay.
Now you know it's all natural. I mean, nothing's rehearsed, right?
No, absolutely nothing is rehearsed on this show.
God, you just suck the life out of me. It feels like
you've got a lot grayer since we started this.
I have. I know. I have.
Heading down under. Welcome to the program, Mark Towse.
Crikey!
We are live.
Well, hello there, strangers. How are we on this? Is it Friday night, Brad? Is it?
It's Friday. Yeah, the SEC tournament's going on, Jay.
For some of us, it's Friday night. For others, it's like next Wednesday, I believe. But this is weird. Where has that Paper Cut show been lately? I think those guys have discovered Fortnite and video games, and that's what they're doing.
One guy. Hold on. Wait up. Well, this guy has discovered Fortnite.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jay. I'm the one you love. Brad's over at the controls there. He's taking care of all the business. And this episode, we are going into the future. We usually do some time traveling every now and then, but normally it's just a few hours, not like weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It is what, March 29th in Australia right now. And you guys know this guy. He was with us about a year ago. Was it about a year ago? Maybe a little over.
Maybe probably, yeah.
Yeah. And we had some conversations about geriatric horror, I guess. I guess
some crows
say.
And
some flatulence issues with some of the characters. Mark Towse is with us this evening, everyone. Welcome to the show, Mark. Thanks for
hi guys.
Thanks for agreeing to come back. By the way,
I only came back to apologize for last time.
That's it. Yeah. We're done. He apologized. We're time to go.
Your band's over. Yeah. That's what it is.
Thanks, guys.
See, now I need to look up when was he on last. Let me take a look here.
I was over a year ago. I'm sure of it. Surely
it was a while ago.
My channel says a year, but I'm just a repost channel. So you
May
would have
May 20th, 2022. It's almost 2 years. Going on 2 years.
Wow.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought as much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm only judging by how much older you guys look.
Jay's gray. He's all gray now. Look at his beard.
I got grayer, right? I mean, I'm trying. I got some light to try to, take care of
Embrace
it.
Embrace it.
Yeah. So, what's been keeping you busy for the last couple of years since we've chatted last?
Oh, just the usual, sir. Just the usual. Just the writing, really. I've been very prolific as usual. Got a lot of stuff going on. My head feels like it's going to explode, so I'm trying to get to the finishing post just for a bit of sanity. But yeah, lots of stuff happening. In between,
you do like what? To keep 9 or 10 books in the last 2 years since we chatted? Or?
No. But look, I've got Chasing the Dragon, my first novel. I finished my second novel that was picked up by Wicked House, which is pretty cool. And I'm 2/3 of the way through my third novel. So it's been busy, yeah, but it's yeah, it's fun though. Still enjoying it. Still loving it.
So no breaks. No breaks.
Well, I had a day off like last year at some point.
That's because you were sick. That's why.
Yeah, I was dying. Yeah, I was on my deathbed. Yeah.
You've written a bunch, so that's crazy that this is the Chasing the Dragon's your first novel, because you have what, 9 or 10 novellas or something like that.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of things wrong, like in terms of marketing and promotion. I've done a shitload wrong, in my life. But one thing I don't regret is getting out all those short stories, building up to novellas, and then working towards the novel. I think that's been a really valuable experience for me in terms of sharpening the tool set, in terms of preparing myself. So when it came to writing a novel, it didn't seem like such a mountain to climb, if that makes sense, because I've already got a lot of work experience. I've played with different themes, different genres. So yeah, it didn't feel like such a task. And that's one thing, like I said, I've done a lot of shit wrong, but that's one thing I actually got right. And I've written it down, this, because it's so rare that I get things right. I've actually written it down. But yeah, there you go.
So was Chasing the Dragon, was it intended to be a novel from the get-go, or did it just evolve and grow longer and longer to a novel?
Well, the character jumped from the pages from a short story I wrote called Watch Me Fly. It was about a 5,000 worder I wrote probably about 2 years ago. But when you finish with something and it's not dead, you know that character has to live on. because he's got so much more to offer. He's got so much trauma to get through. He's got so much shit to wade through. So many things he needs to do to try and put things right. So I knew I was going to be revisiting that at some point, and I just didn't know in what context. But then I just woke up one morning and the idea just came to me. It was the easiest thing I've ever written, because Simon Dooley is essentially me. It's me on those pages. It's my childhood.
I was going to bring that up, but I was the connection with that. Yeah.
It is me. That those first few pages essentially are just an autobiography, and it was so cathartic and therapeutic to write. I'm a pantser. I don't really have any formula or plan. I don't write chapter notes. I don't know where things are going, but as the character grew, like, he just kind of dictated where this story was going, what he needed to do to try and escape the trauma, of his dead mother's voice that continues to haunt him. And everything else just fell into place. It was just such a breeze to write. I've never had so much fun in the writing process before. And I've written horror comedy.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask, like, what made this different and for you to turn it into a novel? But you just said, though, it came from a short story that you previously written. I mean, what was the difference? What was a different process? Just a novella, but you went longer? You didn't want to finish it that quick, or what was the situation to make it into a novel?
I'm not too sure if I intended it to be my first novel. But as I said, the character, there's so many layers and there's so much to explore in terms of scraping away at the brain and trying to find out what Simon or Aka Reformo's MO is, what would bring him peace. And as I said, I enjoyed spending time with him because it was so cathartic. It was so therapeutic. And, when you're releasing all that bile, when you're bleeding your trauma onto the pages, it's such a cool experience. And I just had so much fun with it, honestly. And the multi-genre thing, it was definitely a risky business because it's so far out of my remit. I mean, I've written horror, sci-fi, but it's all had the undertones of really dark horror in there. But this crosses so many genres, from thriller, crime, dark romance, even fantasy. It's so it was a bit of a gamble, but it just all fell into place, and it really just wrote itself. I know that sounds so corny and cheesy, but but it did. It was such a journey for me, and I felt exhausted, but also somehow replenished at the end of it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, reading the premise of it, the synopsis of it, it doesn't right away sound like a Mark Towse book, what we're used to, but once you get into it and get deep into it, you're like, okay, yeah, that there are the jokes, the comedy, and then old people involved, and then you got someone you have someone saying "fuck Marissa Tomei," and I'm like, what? There's certain people that not Marissa Tomei. Come on,
I can't go cold turkey on the old people.
You know what I mean? It's just like so. Yeah, you brought it back to the Mark Towse style, but it's almost like in disguise a little bit. It's like a Towse book in disguise, especially with that cover, because someone that doesn't know your work, you just look at it like, oh, is this like a graphic novel or something? So
a lot of the art reviewers said that it seemed so far out of the ballpark, but as they read on, things kind of fell into place with the very sort of dark and twisted humor. That goes through everything all right, but there's lashings of it in this one. But purely, in the same way that Simon Aka Reformer uses humor as a shield, or that's my entire life. I'm a cheeky Yorkshireman. It's my defense. It's my power. It's my go-to. It's what's got me through so many dark moments, and I always draw on that when I'm writing these things.
Jay, did you say in disguise on purpose?
A little bit. It was like a double entendre. It was like a little play on words.
I like
there,
it.
But
It went over my head, but I get it.
yeah.
It's good.
So just so everybody knows, we're talking about your new novel, Chasing the Dragon. Just so can you give just a quick, elevator pitch? What is this novel about for people that might not know yet?
Yeah, look, it changes every time. Every time. It's radically different every time. But essentially, it's a book about trauma. It's a book about trying to escape trauma. So we have this man-child called Simon Dooley, who has grew up in a very disciplined childhood. His mother ruled the household with an iron fist, cups on the counter, crumbs staying on the clothing, or if shoes were left out, if someone parked outside their house, if she could hear the thumping bass of loud music, she would ruin the entire day, entire weekends. She would bring hell down. So obviously, Simon has grew up with this trauma, and to skip a few plot twists later, even when she's dead, her voice and the chaos continues to ring through his head. So the only way he thinks like, it sounds ridiculous now, but the only way he thinks he can actually finally escape that trauma is to get a cape made by the local chain-smoking seamstress called Janice and take to the streets to fight crime, starting from getting people to pick up, dog shit. And then he soon gets swallowed up into the darker recesses of town and mixes with the drug lords, and it gets a little bit more serious from there on in. Along the way, he falls in love, but ultimately he's just trying to escape that trauma that's haunted him for so long.
It's almost like a little play with Psycho, with the constant mom nagging in his head, and yeah,
it's a driver
right away.
It's a driver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Psycho was the first horror movie I ever watched. Funny enough.
Really?
So
well,
yeah.
So it's sticking with you a little bit now. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So was that like something that traumatized you at a young age watching Psycho? Was it pretty young when you watched it?
Yeah, I've told this story, but before on a podcast, but I'll just skim it briefly. So my parents, just like Simon Dooley's, it was very similar to war. Long periods of boredom and silence followed by short bursts of linguistic violence. That's how I think of my childhood, and it was the same for Simon Dooley. But but anyway, one day when they were getting on, which is so rare that I can remember it, they couldn't find a babysitter, so they left me with the next door neighbors, which were an old couple.
Did they know the neighbor?
No, the only interaction we've had before with them, that's a good question. The only interaction we've had before with them is that they would bring these food parcels across, like Dutch specialities. The only problem is they were both chain smokers, and everything tasted of cigarette ash. Everything, every mouthful was tobacco. It was just the same. So it was the same routine. As soon as their back was turned, we'd scrape it into the bin. They'd come back for it. So, that was delicious. Please, when is the next batch coming over? And it just carried on like that. So that was the only interaction we'd had. So anyway, they decided to leave me with these creepy old bastards. And that's traumatizing enough. There's big watery peepers and big cheesy grins like staring at you. We played this game of Karen balls, which is like a Dutch version of pool, but you flick like wooden counters and try and get counters in the pocket. And that was kind of fun, just apart from these, big bony hands crawling across the table towards me. And then I said, look, I needed an out. So I said, can we watch a movie? Can we watch TV or something? And for some reason, I don't know.
Let's watch Psycho.
They ended up on Psycho. Yeah, I know. So there I am, sat in between these two old folks, sort of bony fingers tapping on their knees, they're nasally breathing, their big watery eyes occasionally staring down at me, watching Psycho, the music and Norman Bates stabbing someone in the shower. And it's like, that's enough, surely, to traumatize anyone. You've got to admit.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, she brought through this little bowl of like what I can describe as blancmange. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yeah, I've heard that word before. What is it?
Blancmange.
It's kind of like a pudding kind of thing. Yeah.
Curdled glue with a bit of rainbow coloring on top, and of course, cigarette flavored blancmange. And but because they were both either side of me, I felt obliged to eat it. So there I was watching Psycho, absolutely terrified, eating this fucking horrible cold ash flavored blancmange. And for days that haunted me, that experience. So that was, again, it was really good to release that. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. So again, it was good to get rid of
It was
it.
all downhill from there.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
It sounds like that experience informed your whole writing career.
It had a lot to do with it. Yeah, it had a lot to do with it. You know, the old people horror. My. Yeah.
So were you
But I'm trying to get away from that slowly.
slowly but surely?
Yeah.
So were you
Can't go cold turkey.
Yeah.
were you a superhero fan growing up, comic books and all that kind of stuff?
That was my escape, Brad. Yeah, that was my escape. I had hundreds of DC comics, and that was.
Oh, you were a DC guy. I think I knew that.
Yeah, man. It was. I had so many. I don't know what happened, but I was really into them. And then, when I got a bit older, I thought I'm a bit over comics now. I'm a bit too old for this, and I gave them all to my cousin Barry. Right? I didn't even like the guy. I should probably I shouldn't say that, but I imagine now how much that collection is worth, and I curse myself every day for that. But yeah, I was always escaping into fantasy land. That was my release. That was my medicine, just to escape that very claustrophobic, that very stifled household.
Yeah. I was a Marvel guy, so I had a bunch, and then probably 15 years ago, we were hard up, so I sold them, but I got nothing. And now thinking back, I'm like, man, they'd be worth so much right now.
Yeah.
I was an idiot to get rid of them. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure all the movies hike the prices up on the comics and stuff.
Yeah.
How popular they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you model Reformo after a certain superhero, or is it kind of common? Because he felt like kind of, he's grounded. He feels like more like a Batman or like a Daredevil, like street level kind of superhero.
Felt like the movie Kick-Ass. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, Kick-Ass is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people have mentioned.
Oh, have they? Okay.
And what's the Deadpool?
Deadpool.
I mentioned Deadpool as well. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to have that come off the page. Really, I was trying to, make this character very unique, and also have his trauma following through the entire story, every single page. I wanted Reformo to bleed his trauma. I didn't want him like halfway through, to become that sort of almost two-dimensional superhero. I wanted him to be haunted by this, like all the way through, because that, it doesn't matter what costume we wear, how fast we run, how high we fly. Trauma is still going to be following us. It's still going to be there. We'll never escape it, and that's what I wanted to reflect in the story more than anything else, really.
Yeah.
I liked that you didn't give him superpowers. So he's just this normal guy in a suit trying to, do what's right. I feel like that made it more entertaining, more grounded. He can't fly, he can't shoot lasers out of his eyes, or deflect bullets or any of that stuff.
Yeah. He's fighting his own demons inside his head.
Yeah.
But it's relatable. We all have our own demons. We've all got our flaws. Life is imperfect, and so are we. But he's just trying his best. But I enjoyed that early stage where the harder he tried, the harder he failed. Yeah, even to the extent of his interactions with the old people, trying to get his message across that a savior is coming to town. At one point, the words "I hate Jesus" leaving his mouth just to try and prove a point. But some of those early interactions, they have me in stitches. They were really fun to write. But yeah, it's just a kid damaged, trying his best to put things right, trying his best to escape his trauma and his. I just wanted people to relate to that, and I think
trying so hard to be a do-gooder, and he just falls and fails. Yeah. So yeah, and
he's so surprised that the reaction isn't overwhelmingly positive.
Because it's automatically thinking, "Hey, I'm in this costume. I'm in the superhero costume. Where's my respect?" And I'll say, no, it doesn't work out. So.
But as you said, Brad, he can't fly. He can't laser things with his eyes. So he's got to rely on, I don't know, momentum before his fan base builds. He's got to, but he's got to somehow elevate himself from super pooper scooper to this hero in everyone's eyes, and it's that journey that I think is intriguing, really.
Did you have fun creating all the villains, because they all have like
I was gonna say the
butt names like Ass Man and what
Bum Fluff and
Bum Fluff and yeah. They all have
Butterballs.
Butterballs,
Cinnabon
yeah.
and Butterballs. I think Butterballs is my favorite character. I thought she was immense. She's a powerhouse. But no, that was great. Look, at the end of the day, you know, this is a fun book, and I didn't want, you know, or even criminals, even the bad guys in this, they're carrying their trauma, they're carrying their flaws. So, you know, this is never designed to be like a serious self-help book. It's designed to be a Christ above. Yeah, don't anyone pick this up assuming it's going to be a self. But I want it to be a sort of tongue-in-cheek look at trauma, and you know, it's often a taboo subject, but I think this book just represents. Doesn't matter who we are, what walk of life we come from. You know, trauma surrounds us. It's the darkness that is constantly attached to us, and I wanted to reflect that through the characters. I didn't want them, you know, to come across as two-dimensional and just super serious. I wanted them to have their flaws, and by giving them names like Bumfluff and Cinnabon, I think that's quite symbolic in a way. Yeah,
we won't give it away, but with the little bit of a twist at the ending, was that always the way you set out for it to be like that, or was that like something that came to you as you got closer to the end?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about without giving it away, isn't it? But it wasn't always there. It was something that came probably about halfway through the story, and it just sort of clicked. And you know, I think the payoff is satisfying. I think the payoff is good. It was like, how the hell am I going to get there and make this sound plausible? That's always a challenge when you start writing something like this that's wacky, wild, and but I think it works.
Yeah.
I think it works personally, and the feedback we got from the ARC reviews of they agree, and that just makes me super happy. Because you know, it is akin to like the past to some extent. There are parallels there.
Yeah,
that was never my intention, but I just think it sits really well.
It gives a few some of the answers to a few holes or loose ends. It kind of ties things by going in that direction. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. Yeah. I see. Now thinking back to the rest of it, you're like, okay, I see why we went that direction because of the way the ending was. So, yeah,
absolutely. It is super hard to talk about, isn't it? Because it's
you can't.
It's just like one word, and it'll be like all over, and that'll be it. But you're gonna have to read it to find out, folks. But it was a bold move, but I think it works. Yeah,
I enjoyed what happened at the end. I liked it quite a bit. Cool. I think for me, it elevated what had all previously gone on, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tell us, Brad, why did you like it quite a bit?
I'm not saying, Jay, I can't give it away.
No, you were just like, I liked it. Okay. Mark, you have Brad's approval. You have Brad's approval now.
Check mark of approval.
So what's the release date?
That means a lot, actually. It does, to be fair.
What are we looking at? March 23rd? Is that what I saw for the release date? Or
a week, yeah. March 23rd, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
this is you're doing this with Erie
River Publishing, yeah. It's really hard to say that. Erie River, it's hard to say.
Erie River
Publishing, yes.
River part, but Erie River Publishing. First time with them?
Yeah, I've been in an anthology with them before. Okay. It calls From the Forest. I just enjoyed working with them. I thought they were a really professional outfit, and I know Michelle was having an open call for Canadian publishers, and I was a little bit cheeky Yorkshireman. I just had a chat with her and said, how do you fancy having a look at this? And she says, yep, send it over. I'm surprised you haven't asked me to look at something before. And she loved it. And that's it. The rest is history. Yeah. And she's been super passionate about this. And that's what you want in a publisher. You want someone that gets behind it. You know what I mean? You want someone that believes in it. And it's, I'm super pumped for this one. I really am. It's you know, I have written a lot of stuff, as you said before, Brad, but this is my debut novel, and I think people will have a really good time with it.
Right.
I still think it's crazy it's your debut novel. I feel like you have so much stuff. It's wild. This is your first novel.
Well, look, that's the way I look at it now. Again, I don't regret that because now I've got 185 short stories.
I was going to touch on the short stories because I know we discussed that last time. Yeah.
It's like 185 ideas there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you think maybe sort of 30% of those could become novel length,
yeah.
I've got my pick there, and there are some doozies in there that I've often thought, yeah, we can go with this.
Are you still adding some to your backup lists? Because I remember we were talking that you said, if you see a call, you're like, well, I think I got one that fits, and you have it ready to go. Are you still adding some to your running list?
Calls?
Yeah.
No, I've just been ignoring calls because at the moment they're just a distraction. I just want to get to the finish line of where I am before my head implodes. Honestly, that's how I feel at the moment. I don't want to. I can't take anything else on because I'll just pass out. I'll just die quivering in a corner somewhere. I've got 2 projects on the go. I'm doing a Try Not to Die in Acronym with Damon Manx, which is man, this is have you read any of the Try Not to Die series?
Well, you did it with Damon, the Arcranium, right? Or is that
the novella Arcranium? Yeah. And we approached Mark Towse, and he was all for doing like a spin-off of Try Not to Die in Arcranium because the potential is limitless. And I'm having so much bloody fun with this. Honestly, I am. It is. We are taking readers on one frigging scary roller coaster with this one. I tell you, this is I know I'm going to stick my neck on the line, and I'm going to say it'll be the best Try Not to Die in the series.
Nice.
It's been an absolute hoot to write, and there are so many glorious ways which readers are going to die, and I can't wait. So I'm doing that. I'm also writing a solo novel, which is actually, I don't know if you remember Hope Wharf?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. Yeah. So I read that very early on in my career, and I was never very happy with it from a technical point of view. And so I got the rights back to that, and I'm turning it into a novel length piece.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But really changing it up and making it even darker. And I'm having a lot of fun with that because I love seaside town horror. It's the environment is fantastic. You can smell the sea air, you can taste the fast food, and I love it's like a holiday spending time there for me. So I'm 2/3 the way through that. My first instinct is to send that to Wicked House as a follow-up to the second novel that I'm publishing with them, or I might send it to an agent. I'm at that stage now where I've got a volume of work behind me, but now I don't know what to do with it or where to go. So I'm sort of assessing the market and just thinking about my next move.
Well, you could have a continuation of Chasing the Dragon, just call it Mouth Hole. That'd be pretty cool. That's like a reoccurring, like the whole mouth hole joke throughout, and just.
I don't know. That people might get the wrong idea about.
Yeah, because it happens earlier on and it sticks with it. And,
Yeah.
My brain was going a couple different ways with that. So,
Jay, you can't call a book mouth hole, Jay.
I don't know if I'm going that direction with it, Jay.
That's a good play on it. Come on.
I don't think that's going to make the short list, Jay. I'm sorry, fellas. But look, I'd love to write a sequel for that one.
Yeah,
I think there's plenty more trauma to uncover. I think that would be great to write a sequel, and I just had so much fun with it. So we'll see how high it flies, and based on that, we'll make a decision. But yeah,
I would want to mention the tweet you put out for this episode. You're talking about writing this book that you laughed 1 minute and cried the next.
Yeah.
So was it? I know, and you're talking about a lot of this is kind of like your childhood. You grew up. So was it cathartic for you? Was it hard? Was it adding the comedy in, sort of bring some levity to it, where it's not all
he was
just
about the last time he was on a show.
That's probably what he was too. He's crying because he had to come back on.
It took me months of therapy.
Yeah,
to summon the courage to come back.
Last time he was on a show, he laughed 1 minute, cried the next.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. It was normally after you told one of your jokes, Jay. But no,
yeah.
I'm kidding. It was both. It was traumatic and cathartic. It was it brought a lot of those feelings back that you tend to try and bury, as days pass, as years pass. I just think it's such a shame, that childhood should be something that's just embraced, and it's such a shame when that there's no rule book, that there's no license people require to to raise children. So it was a good release, but I also reflect on it with a sense of disappointment, and I think it was a missed trick. It was a missed opportunity. And there's a lot of lessons I take from that raising my own children though, and just trying to get them to explore new experiences, have them invite their friends over, an open house, and just create such a warm, encouraging environment for them that just wasn't what I experienced.
Is that like nerve-wracking for you to sort of put yourself out there that way, to have this book kind of be about your own personal experiences, or is that not something you weren't really worried about?
I just don't care. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I'm at that stage in life where I don't care if people like or hate me. I just don't care. I think that happened when I was probably about 40, 45. I got to a stage where I thought, if you're toxic, if you're negative, I'm not going to surround myself with you. Maybe I've gone too far the other way because I probably don't network enough. I probably don't push myself out there enough in the community. But I guess barriers are up because of that. And look, trauma affects us all in different ways, doesn't it? It shapes us, and we can try and break that mold to some extent after a certain amount of time, but I think sometimes the longer it's left, the harder it becomes, and the harder it is to break. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Sorry, I've totally lost the plot. What was the question?
Well, you mentioned that it wasn't that this is not a self-help book or anything, but what we ought to do is get it on the bookshelves and just go into the bookstores and kind of move it over to the self-help part. And just see if you help anybody come to terms with their childhood traumas. Okay,
but I think it will help. It will help raise awareness that everyone's imperfect, and we're just doing our best. That's the general message underlying, the sort of the story. I mean, there are plot twists. There are, it's dark, it's gritty, it's menacing, it's violent at times, but the message is the same. It's like,
we could change the show a little bit and have people in the chat ask questions, like maybe you can help them get through their
be
Dr.
like
Phil all of a sudden,
I was gonna say like Miss Cleo's
yeah.
Oh,
did we lose him? Okay, he's back.
I think he's there. You go.
Sorry.
You remember Miss Cleo? Like, call Miss Cleo's hotline, like the Jamaican lady back in the day. She'd read your fortune. You remember that, Jay?
I remember it. Yeah.
I don't know if she went to Australia or not. I don't know. That might have just been a States thing. I think she went to jail for
like late night thing. But I was thinking like Dr. Phil. I don't know.
Dr. Phil or like Jerry Springer, maybe.
We had an equivalent in the UK when I was in the UK called Mystic Meg. Meg.
Really?
We used to, her alias was Septic Peg. That's what everyone used to call her, Septic Peg. But I don't know what happened to her, but I don't really know.
I'm pretty sure Miss Cleo went to jail for fraud, if I remember correctly.
No, that sounds about right.
We have to look that up now.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
She didn't see that coming. Yeah.
No. So I wanted to ask, still throughout the book, you do like very comic booky things, like your sound effects. When he's fighting, it's bang, pow, boom. And then the cover looks very comic booky as well. So was that an intention to sort of interject that to make it feel more kind of comic booky in a way?
Again, I didn't start with the intention of doing that, but it just sort of felt natural as I was going through it. It in my mind, I can see this as a graphic novel at some point. It's got that feel to it, and I wasn't going to shy away from that. This is, I don't know, this is kind of adult dark fantasy, and why not have a bit of fun with it along the way? There's humor threaded through it, so why not go full hog? But I think it works. I think it's a fine balance, balancing the sort of serious elements with comedy. But I think it can work well if done correctly. By taking people on a high and then ripping the floor away. Sometimes I think it carries more dramatic impact. And Yeah, I mean, the feedback I get so far is that it's it's hilarious, tragic. It was making people laugh 1 minute and then feeling sad the next, and that's exactly the journey I wanted to take them on, because that's what life is, isn't it?
Miss Cleo was not from Jamaica, by the way.
I figured she probably wasn't. If she went to jail for fraud, Jay, it's probably all fake. But
I don't know if she went. I don't know if she went to jail, but there was like some indictments of $500 million in debt and everything.
Wow.
She died in 2016, so we shouldn't really be talking about her. But still,
I didn't know that. Well, I like all the sound effects. It had like this certain level of pulp to it that I enjoyed.
Sorry, I totally stopped the show to look at Miss Cleo. I totally.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
We'll have mouth hole and Miss Cleo. No, I've totally lost the plot now. Right?
Hashtag what happened to Miss Cleo?
Yeah, look, it is very pulpy. I mean, that's the sort of theme I wanted to go for. I wanted people to imagine the gritty alleyways, the smell, the rats. I just wanted people to. I wanted to immerse people in that environment, and these little touches, these little nuances, I think really help.
Yeah, the city sort of gave me like a Gotham vibe where everything's kind of torn up and everywhere you go, someone's trying to mug you around the corner or whatever.
Yeah, that's my hometown. That's what it's based on. I come from a city called Hull in Yorkshire, or people call it Hull in Hull. They call it Hull, but it's got a smell of fish and death. That's what still fills my nostrils. You go for a walk at lunchtime, and there's drunks drinking special brew, needles on the floor. I think it's changed a lot since I was there. I mean, I don't know why they waited for me to leave before this improved the fucking place, but there you go. But anyway, yeah, it was my hometown, and again, that was easy to write about because it's what I know.
Where does this one fall in the Mark Towse library? Like, if you were to meet somebody that wanted to get into your writing, would you tell them about this one first, or still give them Nana, Last Shindig, or?
I'm really trying to get away from that melting face of Nana. I'm trying to get away from the farts.
Well, I mean, you have the bucket list too, and what Last Shindig, one Last Shindig, and stuff like that. So
yeah. Look, Gone to the Dogs was a cracking story. I loved writing that. I thought that was a great story. 333 was fun to write as well. But this one.
I only asked that because it is. I still think it's a little different than your other things. That's the reason why I'm asking that. So
yeah, I think it's a fine line, because this one it was in my head. It was, how am I going to market this, because it is multi-genre. This is outside of the ballpark of my usual horror audience. But I think long term, I think it will serve me well, because it will appeal to those that like sort of thrillers, or maybe crime, or that pulpy comic book style. So I think long term it'll work to my advantage. And my style is there. It's very
right. It still is
very twisted. Yeah. So I'm all up for recommending this one. I mean, I love this book. I mean, I wrote it, so I should do, but I back it 1,000%. And I love Reformo, and I'd love to revisit Reformo. I think he's a great character. And yeah, but as I mentioned, it's always a risk. It's always a risk when you do something new. But I think I've had 45 ARC reviews so far, and 40 of those have given it a 5-star. It's carrying like a 4.89 average, which is the best landing I've had for a book to date.
Nice.
So I've got to go by what people are saying, and that puts a big old smile on my face.
So you're saying there's a chance we're going to see a Reformo Halloween costume, right? Does Australia do Halloween? I don't even know. Do they dress up for Halloween and stuff? Or
we do Halloween. I don't think it's as big as it is in the US or the UK, but we do Halloween. Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Well, I mean,
remember my costume with a mouthful.
It can't have a mouthful. So.
With a mouthful. No more holes. Just only no more. Nowhere else. Yeah. That was one of the funniest parts. I loved actually the upgrade of the suit as time went on. Just his sheer shock at that Janice didn't put a mouthful in there for him. I thought that was That was such a fun exchange. And Alf in the living room watching TV. Is that fucking weirdo gone yet?
Yeah.
So it's just
I mean, that was
that
cool.
is me. That's my style.
I could totally imagine the two in there, like, oh, God, is he at the door? Is he gone yet? You know, just being
Janice
so
and
loud. Yeah, I mean, being so loud that you know he can hear. So
Yeah, I love Janice. Like she's like a favorite auntie. I've had a couple of people say to me, said, "Oh, we want to see Janice again because we love Janice." She's just that kind of character, you know. But yeah, his initial impression didn't go down too well, but there was definitely a fondness that grew over time.
I think there are a handful of characters right here that you could probably have a spin-off of, like just make them pop up in other stories too. Have a little bit of origin of them and stuff, and I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, Janice
there
is kind of
like there are a few Easter eggs in this one. Yeah.
Janice is kind of like Iron Man's Jarvis, kind of like his sidekick that helps him build all the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but not quite as sophisticated.
No, nowhere near that. It also felt like the whole story felt like almost a video game. Like, you know, the bosses get harder, and then he upgrades his suit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a progression. Yeah, that was fun too. You know, fighting the thugs and then the bigger bosses.
1 minute he was picking up dog poo. The next minute he was fighting, you know, the sort of the big bosses of town. So, and that happened quite quickly. But yeah, it was just as part of his mission, and like, you know, even to the point where he was chasing those girls down the street, which is like like a pretty awful kind of scene. But he was so adamant that to get his message across that he wasn't going to fail, that he was that he prepared to go to any lengths, no matter what the cost. But again, that scene for me is was one of the funniest to write. Yeah, the run up, just like.
Do you ever think of maybe trying to turn this into like a TV script or something for I don't know, for Netflix or Amazon? I mean, I could picture this being a series, like an 8-part series of him with the suit being upgraded, getting better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we spoke about last time if you had any interest in doing like scripts for TV or movies or anything.
So many people have said that about this book, that it needs a series.
Yeah.
Which is great, but I don't know how to go about that.
Yeah.
You know, I get my head down around. I don't know about writing scripts and stuff or screenplays. I wouldn't know where to start. Yeah, but if someone came on the scene and said, "Yeah, we'll do that," yeah, that'd be great. But I don't know. I've got a friend who's a screenplay writer. Eric Hansen, you guys probably seen him. He's really good. He writes dialogue so sharp it can cut through his soul. He's really underestimated actually, but I love talking to him about screenplays, and his passion sort of really rubs off on me. So I wouldn't mind venturing down that, but I think it would make a cool series, and I think it's unique and extraordinary enough to do something a bit different. Yeah. But that's what every author says about their work, you know.
Because I just stumbled across one on Amazon Prime's got this cartoon. What's it called now?
Invincible.
Yeah. Invincible has got like Omni-Man. Like I just now stumbled across it, and it's like it kind of pokes fun at like the Marvel movies and stuff. You know, it'd be that's when I was watching that and reading this book at the same time, I was like, hey, this could really turn into something like that. I mean, even if it was raw action instead of animated, you know, you could still, you know, have fun doing it, because just seeing the transformation of Reformo and getting through to the end. So
it's not going to blow the budget, is it? Really? Let's you know, there's no like crumbling buildings or anything like that.
Yeah,
we'll just need a few dog poo bags and
you know, a different kind of superhero.
A bit of lycra for the suit, exactly.
Yeah.
An old leotard or something. Yeah.
I think Invincible is Robert Kirkman, same guy who wrote Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah. I just watched the first episode today, to be honest with you. My friend Jason told me about it the other night, because we saw the characters on Fortnite. That's what it was.
Shay.
We were playing a video game. I was like, who's that? And he's like, you got to watch it. And I watched the first episode today.
44 minutes. 44 minutes. Before he mentioned it, before the F word came out.
He's been dreaming about it the whole time, probably.
No, you're the one that's talking about it. Was there a bet going on? I figured it was.
No. But yeah, the way the
It
story's
must be doing
structured,
something right to hang around for as long as it has.
yeah, it's been out for like
It's been around how long now?
2017, something like that. So
Has
That's
it?
crazy.
We're just now
a year or
getting to
something.
it.
Because we're old, Jay. You're old. I'm middle aged.
You're not middle. I think I'm considered middle age. Yeah.
You're a senior citizen almost. But
how old are
I
you,
would,
Jay? Anyway,
How old am
Uh-oh.
I? I think you're older than me, Mark.
I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, so we got to be careful, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 40. I'm 46.
Yeah, I'm 50 now, so
See? Okay.
Uh-oh.
easy.
Easy.
You don't have the
Easy.
grade that I have though.
I do have the grey. Yeah, it's there. It's
Okay.
there. It's like because it's like it's summer here, so it sort of fades it to appear blonde.
I
But
got you.
as soon as the sun goes in, it becomes grey again. Yeah.
I did want to ask about the cover because, like Jay said earlier, it's very comic book looking cover, graphic novel. So, did you have much input in what the cover was going to look like, or much say or anything?
Absolutely, I did. Yeah, it's by a guy called Tom Brown. I've never used before. Just outstanding. I'm just super happy with that. And it took I think 2 or 3 revisions. And again, just the fact that your
That's not
publisher
going to
is
show
open
up,
to that.
is it? No. It's not going
It's not going to show
Too
up. no.
bright.
Is it
Yeah.
show up on
to.
mine?
You have a copy? Yeah.
Here, let me
there you go.
full screen. There you go.
Well, I was trying to do I was trying to do the. I got like the artsy pencil drawing one.
Yeah, and even the sort of some of the interior artwork is
Yeah.
pretty cool as well. Just on that.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Oh, you got,
But
you got
yeah,
some
so
inlays there. Yeah.
So even the fact that the publisher was open to revisions, it's like that it shows you that they want it to succeed. It sort of again further confirms that they're behind you. And yeah, I'm super happy with it. I think it's cartoonish, but it's also got a really, really dark feel to it, and that's what the book's about, really.
Do you have a bigger poster size of that framed?
No, I'd love to get one.
That'd be cool.
I'd love to get one. I'd love to get one. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah. I've got to sell a few copies before I can afford to lay out on full-size posters and whatnot. Yeah.
But I mean, you've always had some pretty cool, like your covers. I know you were joking about the Nana cover, but you've always had some pretty cool covers on some of the stuff you've had. So this fits in some of your.
I joke about Nana,
yeah.
but to be honest with you, that cover by Don Noble really helped.
Yeah,
no,
because people recognize it.
It really helped it fly. Absolutely, it really helped it fly. It's retro. You've got the innocence on one side, you've got the darkness leak out on the other end. It's just bloody perfect, really. But yeah, look, I've had some great covers, and it's you can never underestimate how much impact a cover has. And this one is a gamble. It's got that sort of cartoony effect. But it is dark, and I urge people to give it a try because it's you're gonna have a good time, man.
Yeah.
Did you because as the book progresses, it gets more and more violent. Did you enjoy writing the violent scenes, the fight scenes and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, I did. Absolutely, because it was a chance for, Reformer's got this inner rage that he carries around with him. So, and he appears, understandably, and he appears at first sight to be, in control of it. But during those fight scenes, he unleashes, and yeah, it's like a Hulk in a way. All of a sudden, under these dire circumstances, he gets this extra bit of strength that really helps him overcome some of his adversaries. And again, that was sort of rather symbolic in terms of me writing. I don't know if it came across like that, but yeah, it was channeling that trauma into these kind of situations.
Yeah, because it seemed like every time the mom started getting in his head, it just pissed him off even more. He just lost control.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I was worried about that a little bit because I was worried about it becoming a little bit too repetitive in terms of the voice in his head. But to be honest with you, that is the driver. That is why he wants to escape it. It's the whole process behind it. That is, he just needs to end the chaos to finally put a rest to that voice that haunts him, and perhaps then he can live a life free of trauma, which we know inevitably isn't going to be the case.
Right.
But that's his mission. That's his focus.
So I want to. You saying that?
I was going to say it gives it several extra layers to peel back because you got him trying to clean up the city. You got this voice, so many different layers trying to get to actually the core of who Simon really is. You know, you have to dig for it. So that's good.
Yeah, but I think you do with any person. It's like most of us, as soon as we leave the house, we wear a mask, I suppose, as a costume to some extent, and it takes, you know, and we're all sort of, we're all imperfect. We're all carrying stuff around with us, and I guess for me, even when I meet people, you know, on the street or whatever, it's like I don't do small talk very well. I like to scrape the layers of their brain away and find out what makes them tick, what's their MO, what makes them laugh. And, you know, that's all part of the process for me. And yeah, and I enjoyed stripping away the layers and thrusting Reformer's vulnerability into the world.
Your comment just a second ago made me wonder, you know, was his goal more to actually clean up the town, or was it to, you know, get rid of the voice in his head, and cleaning up the town just was a side effect of that?
Yeah, the latter, pretty much is, you know, he's driven by his own inherent need to escape trauma, and I guess he justifies that by the good activities. You know, I'm just trying to, but ultimately he's driven by his own trauma. But if we can do a bit of good along the way, then so be it. Yeah, absolutely.
Get the neighbors to turn on the music and pick up the dog turds.
I tell you what, though, that was one thing that set my mother off. Like, our lives would not be worth living if someone parked outside of our house. Now, that sounds ridiculous. Whenever I try to explain that to someone, they look at me as though I'm fucking bananas. But it is God's honest truth. That's what she was like. You know, she would be out my dad. Someone's parked inside, you know, in front of our house. Go and have a word with them. Get them to move it. It's insane. And the music, you know, that sort of almost inaudible thumping bass that you can often hear.
I just heard it just a little bit ago because the weather's getting nice. I'm like, what was that? You know. Yeah,
but it's like my mother. It's like a satellite dish. She could pick it up wherever it's coming from, even the slightest bit of sound, and that would be it. Our weekend would be ruined. You know, she had so much control over us. My dad was just a shadow, a shell, if you like. And it was awful to watch him wither away over time. Yeah, because at one stage he wasn't like that. One stage he could hold a room with his stories. He was flamboyant. He was an extrovert. But watching this character just drain the life out of him. Again, all that comes through in the book, as you know. But yeah, it was ups and downs, this book.
So
it was up, but I'm really, really pleased with the end product anyway.
You're saying you don't get invited to family functions anymore because they're afraid they'll end up in one of your books. Is that what we're hearing now?
Hey, look, just to put something in the clear now, I get along pretty well with my mother now. It's taken a lot. No, it's taken a lot of time. There might be some connection between me living in Australia, her living in the UK. That might help a little bit of distance.
What kind of time difference is that?
London, maybe, you know. Hey, oh, that's I think it's 10 hours, 11 hours at the moment. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah. But you know, you have to forgive. You never forget, but you have to try and forgive. You have to try and get over it, and just sometimes give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, she grew up in a family with 5 sisters. Obviously, there were some issues there. You know, she bled her trauma out in exactly the same way. So it's just life. And you know, you deal with the cards you dealt, and you know, this is just Reformer's way of trying to deal with that.
Has your mom read this one, or do you want your mom to read this one?
My mom reads everything I write. Everything I write. She's the first reader.
Oh, that's right, because I think you dedicated it to her, didn't you, at the beginning?
Yeah. But you know what? She doesn't recognize it.
Really?
No. I based so many characters on my mother. She never picks up on it. And you know what? It's that lack of self-awareness. It's that lack of self-awareness. You know, that
might even not even realize maybe what she's done.
Yeah.
No, and she didn't realize what she was doing at the time. It was just this perpetual cycle of but she didn't realize the damage like she was causing. And I think we all know a lot of people that lack such self-awareness as well.
Yeah.
We just got deep on a Friday night here. Well, it's
sorry.
It's
Saturday morning for him, Jay.
Yeah.
He can get deep on Saturday.
Let's
it's
go,
daytime
fellas.
for you, and
Slam,
almost
bam,
afternoon
wallop,
time.
crash.
We're
Yeah.
we got a little deep.
Yeah.
So did your mom? Did she like this one? Did she like the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did. She liked it a lot. Yeah. I think she likes the straightforward horror stuff more.
Mhm.
But yeah, she liked this one too. She's got a, all said and done, she's got the same dark, twisted sense of humor I have. Yeah, she's just as fucked up as me.
It's got to come from somewhere. It's hereditary.
That's right.
Yeah, like I'm fortunate in that my dad is also or was a very funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
He, again, like I said, he could hold the room with his stories, and thank goodness I've got some of that to light the way as well. Yeah.
So this one's coming out next week. You said the 24th. Is that right?
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
Okay.
You can pre-order it on paperback via Barnes and Noble. You can pre-order the Kindle via Amazon. The paperback pre-order for Amazon isn't going up. I think it'll just go live on the 23rd. So you can order it a few different places. It's on Ingram, so it's pretty much available everywhere. So yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm really chuffed with this one, and I just wanted to have to fly high.
Where could people stalk you? Are you still on Twitter, right? You're on Instagram.
He's on Twitter, Jay. You told me to message him on Twitter earlier. Don't you remember?
What am I? I'm barely on anyone anymore, but yeah, okay. You're on Twitter and Instagram, right?
And TikTok. I mean, even TikTok now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Against my better judgment. Yeah, I came on TikTok 3 years ago. And
what are you doing on TikTok? Dances and stuff, or
that's really crying out for a reformer costume, isn't it?
It is.
And a bit of slam bam wallop or something like that. But no, I just do really cheesy promos on TikTok. I mean, this is the one thing that I struggle with. I can write till the cows come home. You know what I mean? But marketing is like, oh my goodness. And every author says it's just a thorn in the side. It's just like, it drives me nuts because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And again, because I'm not a schmoozer, I don't sort of integrate myself in circles of different authors and so forth. I'm in Australia. I'm sort of pretty much, I isolate myself, and that's probably shooting myself in the foot. Because I just love the writing. That's what I'm passionate about. But when it comes to marketing, I suck. I absolutely suck. So I thought, look, I need to get myself on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you do that? There's so much noise. How do you do it effectively? It's it's tricky. It's tricky, and it doesn't really matter how good the book is. Like if you can't get the message out there, if you can't get heard, it's like, but it's a work in progress. I'm working on it. Like I'm trying to get out of that introverted shell and do more of these podcasts and whatnot, and bit of this, bit of that. But yeah.
So
I'm surprised you've been on the episode last time to just ruin podcasts for you in general.
We've broken careers before in a bad way. We've done that. Okay.
That should be on the trailer.
Yeah, really.
Great careers.
We've broken some careers before. Yeah.
No, we haven't, Jay. We've only elevated careers. We've elevated them.
I don't know that, but yeah. So we got about a week.
No, but I like podcasts that you can go on and just have a little laugh. I mean, I was just like, I've been on a couple where it's like so straight, and there's the questions are asking me to sort of literally rip my heart out and put it on display. It's like they're so deep, and it's like I just want to talk about stuff and have a laugh. And it's like, don't ask me about philosophy, don't ask me about politics.
What was the philosophical meaning behind chapter 7? And if you need tissues because you're really reliving your childhood, go right ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It's like. Come on, I'll play the game.
We need you to cry, Mark, but you have to cry in the episode or it's no good.
Could you do that? Do you reckon you could cry in command? Should we have a go?
What was the rumor that like Barbara Walters always tried to make people cry no matter what on
Who,
Whatever.
Jay? I think that's before my time, Jay.
Barbara Walt, dude. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just messing. Well,
All right. When was the last time you cried? When was the last time you cried?
When I
probably yesterday.
Yesterday.
Probably.
When you knew you was going to have to do another
I know.
podcast.
Yeah.
God, Jay, I'm still with him. It's so sad.
couple weeks ago when I saw the tour dates for Pearl Jam and there was no Ohio dates, I was like, what? I had a few tears then, but
Oh wow.
yeah.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Yeah.
Now scrolling like TikTok or whatever,
You know what?
see
It's
all
weird
these.
because
I'll see all these sad videos like the soldiers coming home and everybody's emotional, all that crap. That always makes me teary eyed.
I tell you what, like those fucking animal commercials.
I can't.
Like, I got to
those.
leave the room and turn it off real quick. Where's the remote?
Oh,
Or
they
it's
get
just-
me too.
Yeah.
They get me too, man.
There was
Yeah,
one that
absolutely. Yeah.
there was one I watched this morning. He was like a security guard at a college who hadn't seen his family in 10 years. They live in Nigeria. And so they like did a GoFundMe to pay for him to go to Nigeria and gave him the money. He was all happy. So that made me tear up some this morning. So this morning is the last time I cried.
You have to be stoned for that not to hit you though.
Yeah.
You really do. And I'm a sucker. You know, I can be watching a movie like with my wife, and I have to turn away and just like
Don't look at me.
secretly
Don't look.
Like, oh man, my eyes are like really dry.
Just yawn. I was like,
Yeah.
my eyes are watering because I'm yawning. Oh yeah,
I
that's
know.
what it is.
We have any chips or popcorn or anything? You know, in the other room.
Yeah, you go in the other room. You need a drink real quick. I gotta go to drink.
Yeah. I must have some chili on my fingers or something.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, but it doesn't take much to get me. It's so odd. But I mean, my wife often accuses me of being very unempathetic. But at the same time, I can just cry in a sixpence. You know? So I don't know.
I feel like
But maybe because I keep hiding it.
since I've become a parent, I feel like I cry a lot easier at things like emotional things like that.
Yeah, well, having kids changes your perspective on things for sure. It does.
Kids and
without a doubt.
animals get
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More animals than humans.
time.
The kids can die, but don't touch the dog.
I think we said that last time too. I was like, yeah, like I could watch a movie or whatever, and like a whole family gets blown up. But once the dog gets hurt, I'm like, no. If that dog gets hurt, I'm done. I've turned movies off before because the dog dies.
Isn't that so weird though? Like we don't care about the humans getting killed, but you touch the animal and everyone's the wreck. I think that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird, isn't it? Maybe it's something to do with the fact that like an animal is just like there's no malice there. There's none of that sort of trauma that inspires malignance or anything. It's just like the pureness of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I remember something because I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. And I still probably about 10 years ago, we get beautiful rainbow lorikeets, which are sort of rainbow colored birds. They're just the most beautiful and my favorite type of wildlife in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit one in the car like probably about 10 years ago. And I remember looking at the rear windscreen and like, it's sort of bouncing, this rainbow colors flashing behind me. And I still feel sad about that. And that still gets to me. I still feel like an arsehole.
Yeah.
There's nothing I didn't aim for it. There's nothing I could have done about it.
Yeah.
We had a
Just
deal.
feel guilty.
I just imagine being judged by the rainbow lorikeets whenever I see them. Though. Oh, that's the fellow that killed.
There's Mark. He did it. Mark did it.
Exactly.
Go crap on his car. He did it.
Like, didn't you guys have a deal? They were supposed to get out of the way when they see you?
They're supposed
We
to.
had a deal.
You'd have thought.
Yeah.
I think the saddest, sorry, I don't want to bring this up, but the saddest moment I've ever had is when we had to put our Labrador down, Charlie. She had walking problems for some time, but then her two back legs just became so stiff that she couldn't maneuver herself. But I still remember to that day, and it still, if I think about it, like it can still induce tears.
Jeez, Mark, way to bring up memories. What the hell?
I'm sorry,
What
man.
now you got
Here's me saying I just like to have a laugh.
now you got me thinking about when I had to do it, and like, well, you son of a bitch, we're done.
You've ruined Jay's Friday night.
What I just told you
sorry,
when there's
Jay.
animals involved. So I'm turning the show off now. I just told you when animals are involved.
I'm sorry, man. Has anybody got any good jokes? Yeah.
I do want to ask.
But it is true. Animals get me.
I do want to ask. Are you planning on writing anything more like this in the future, like less horror, more thriller, crime, kind of not stepping away from horror completely, but stepping outside the genre a bit more?
Space erotica.
Space erotica's up next.
He always gets it in.
Yeah.
The second novel I wrote is called The Sound of Suffering, and that's a much more serious book. There's no comedy element in that. That's just serious as hell.
Well, I don't
And
believe that. I don't
no,
believe
it's
that.
true. It's true. It is probably I would say more thriller than horror. So
Mhm.
that's me venturing out my comfort zone again. But like I said, in short stories, I've written all sorts of stuff. I've written sci-fi, love stories. So I'm not. When I say out my comfort zone, it's not like a massive shift.
Yeah.
But look, I just write what calls to me. That's as simple as that. Even when I'm writing short stories, when I was writing short stories, I never responded to calls. I just wrote what felt was right at the time. I'm
Mhm.
sort of ruled by ideas, which could be a smell, a conversation, like a painting, a bit of scenery or something, and I'll go with it. It's just what feels right, because that only then, is it fun. If the less boxes I have, the less forced it feels, the more fun it is for me
Right.
along the way. I'm a pantser. I want to enjoy that journey, and it has to be a journey for me as well. I don't want to tick boxes. I don't want any rigidity. I don't want my stories to feel linear and planned. I
Mhm.
want them to feel off the cuff, zany, but also not beyond the depths of reality, if that makes sense. I don't want it to be farcical. I want it to make sense. I want it to come together, but I don't mind having fun getting there.
Yeah.
But my second novel, Sound of Suffering, is, whilst it was again written unplanned, it's much darker. It's much darker.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm really excited for that one too. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for that one, because the
course.
feedback I got from the ARC readers on that one was like it sort of got the highest rating from Wicked House team. So I'm chuffed with that one. That comes out January 2025. But also,
That's forever away.
I know it is. Yeah, I know. But look, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, Jay knows I've been prolific in the past, and
Mhm.
I haven't often left a lot of space between
Yeah.
releases.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Let
stagger
your
them
book
more
breathe a little bit. Yeah.
to make them more effective and to give them a chance to
Mhm.
really get out there, because I can't keep pushing books out there expecting people to pick them up like a month after or 2 months
Yeah.
later. So
I mean,
I want to
you want people to read your stuff. You
try
don't
and
want to
create a hunger.
yeah, you don't want to stuff all your stuff down their
Yeah.
throat all at once and stuff. So definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But novel writing doesn't allow for that, because I can't come up with a novel in 4 weeks. It takes longer,
Mhm.
and so that I think that's working for me, really.
Yeah.
So I want to create that hunger. People might just forget about me. They might just think, we don't really care. Towers is pissed off somewhere. But I'd like to create some hunger. I'd like to sort of create some suspense before my next release.
Yeah.
I do think I have something unique to offer. It's just a case of getting my marketing right, working with the right people, and just shaping my career and trying to get it to reach its
We
full
got to
potential.
get the some young people to help with the marketing, because they know all the social medias and stuff. Like some 20, 21-year-old that, invented some new app or something. You know what I mean? Get those are the people that can market for you. So
my daughter does a lot of my TikToks, the transitions and stuff, but she's so bloody expensive. Like, she's extortionate, honestly. It's like, she's crazy, man. Like, and it's getting more expensive every time. It's like the more desperate I get, the more she knows she can take me to the cleaners. Well, it used to be a bag of candy, and now it's a new shirt or a new set of bloody makeup or something. So yeah.
Well, Mark, it's always fun when you stop by. We got to make sure it's
extortionist.
not. We got to make sure it's not 2 years next time for you to stop by again. So we'll get you back on before 2 years, definitely. But we know you got to journey off and finish 5 or 6 other stories today. It's now Wednesday afternoon where you are. So thanks so much for
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me
agreeing
back,
to come back. I'm glad Brad didn't scare you off.
I tried, but it didn't work.
So we're looking at March 23rd. The Adventures of Simon Dooley.
Chasing the Dragon.
Chasing the Dragon.
Stick it on TBR. Yeah, Chasing the Dragon.
There you go. That's going to do it for our guest, Mark Towse. Clear on the other side of the planet, right? Down under
probably.
Australia. That's Brad over there. I'm Jay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Until we meet again, stay safe.
Mark, appreciate you hanging out, man.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Love you,
Thanks,
Jay.
guys.
I know
Loved
you
it.
do. Way.